Simon Frew from the Pirate Party of Australia. The Pirate Party have been staunch defenders of internet freedom and civil liberties here in Australia. So ask Simon to come up.
Thanks a lot. The uprisings across Africa and the Middle East are showing the world the material benefits of more open societies. The ability to communicate amongst our peers around the world in an unmediated way is fueling desire for freedom and democracy. Citizens have been able to post videos of state brutality to sites like YouTube, discuss, plan and coordinate actions through social media, and read reports of government corruption posted on Wikileaks. These tools are provided by the internet have enabled people to actively participate in politics in a way never before seen. The collusion between dictators around the world and Western governments too is exposed. Mubarak was always called a friend of the West, and even Gaddafi had the likes of Blair falling over himself for access to Libyan gas and oil. This is why the US has charged Bradley Manning with more serious crimes and why they continue to persecute Julian Assange. The collusion between dictators, major corporations and politicians are being laid bare for all to see. The president wears no clothes and people are beginning to talk. Whilst people are fighting for and winning their freedom across the Arab world, freedoms long held dear of parliamentary democracies are being eroded. Last week, the federal government passed legislation expanding ASIO's powers to share information with other agencies. They can do this under the cover of protecting Australia's national interest, something that is not defined in the legislation. There is no balancing oversight. This just amounts to power taken off us and given to the government's chief spy agency without any legal protections to Australian citizens. Despite words to the contrary, there is a trend amongst Western democracies to curb the freedoms afforded to us on the internet. The cosy alliance between political power brokers, corporate lobbyists and the mainstream media is under threat by our ability to communicate freely, unmediated by the likes of News Limited. Australia's proposed internet filter is but one of the examples of governments around the world trying to control what their citizens see and hear. More frighteningly, there are means called this July to implement a systematic logging of everyone's internet activity by ISPs in an agreement between the US, the EU and Australia. The data retention legislation, which has become known by the Twitter hashtag of Oslo, is yet another direct assault on our civil liberties. We believe people who have done nothing wrong should be free of systematic surveillance. This plan will treat each and every one of us as a suspect. The entire concept of being innocent until proven guilty is being thrown out the window in order to monitor our every move online. At the same time, governments move to tighten access to their own information in the aftermath of Cablegate. The government thinks that they deserve the very privacy that they strip away from us. From what we can see from the leaked cables, our governments have systematically colluded with dictators that are being ousted across North Africa and the Middle East. They systematically collude with corporations to institute policies designed specifically to protect their interests, often against the interests of the people. If we are to hold them to account for how they govern in our name, we need to see what they do in our name. When people can talk freely, you can access accurate information about the actions of their leaders. They can take it upon themselves to effect positive change. This is what the Western governments fear as much as the two dictators being cast out around the world. This is why they are implementing censorship regimes and systematic surveillance of their citizens' communications. You only have to consider state politics for a moment to see that the government systematically rules in the interests of the powerful against the rest of us. Who benefits from the privatisation of electricity? The people who buy the plants. Who benefits from unchecked development? The developers. Who benefits from the donations made to major political parties? The politicians that take in return for the favours they hand out. This is why they continue to assault our civil liberties. They fear the day that we will hold them to account. Let's work towards that day together. Thank you.